see my hair. Okay. Don't let me forget.
We're going.
Press play.
We pressed play.
Press and play.
Kind of want to do this and this and this and this. Okay. How do you feel? Posture is good.
I'm all.
Yeah, now that we're video, there's a lot more that we have to focus on than just talking.
Like doing my makeup.
Yeah, you showed up today, and I was like, wow, so you look so nice. And you're like, we're doing video, right? You had to get ready.
I did.
Do you know how long it took me to get ready?
You probably rolled out of bed.
I did, yeah. I put a hat on, brushed my teeth.
I brushed my teeth too.
That's good. Good job.
Thank you.
It's good for you.
Don't be
guys,
a butthole.
Welcome to Brew Talk. I'm Luke. This is my co-host, Sydney.
Hi.
Don't be mean to her. She'll tell you to shut up.
You can be mean to me. I'll just be mean to my back. Oh my gosh. I was really mean to my tables last night.
Oh, at your serving job?
Yes.
What'd you do? Quickly, what did you do?
You're making me nervous. Sorry. I was trying to pick between which table I should tell you about. This one table, he had like slipped me his card really quickly at like the very beginning. He's like, it's on me. And then at the end of the meal, the other guy was all, hey, here you go. And I was like, no, like he already beat you to it. And this guy, I like walked across the restaurant. I was about to pay them out. And this other guy walked across the restaurant and he like tried to hand me his card. And I was like,
he like followed you. And he's
yeah.
Like, no.
And he was like, no,
for
please.
real.
And he was like, seriously, I'm a better tipper. And I was like, okay, if you're a better tipper, that's fine. And I'm going to trust you. But if I get a crappy tip, I'm going to ream you in front of your friends because that's not happening for me. I'm looking out for number one. I pay him out. I go over there. I
so
bring
you
him
used
cards.
the second guy's card.
I use the second guy's card. The first guy's like, what? What? You didn't use my card? Okay, I get it because it's all broken. He's like, that means it's used more. And I was like, I don't care. He's like, he's trying to give me crap. And he was like, throughout the time, it was just like fun crap. I guess.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you didn't use my card. So I was like, oh, are you going to be able to sleep tonight? He goes, he's like, I don't think so. Probably not. I was like, well, that's not my problem. So I don't really care. And I walked off and without fail, both of the wives are like, oh my God, she's hilarious. I love her.
Did you get a good tip?
Yeah, I got $100 on
Jeez.
$100.
There you go. Wow. Okay. Wow. Good tipper. That's fantastic.
He did not get reamed.
Guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you feel like watching it as well, go over to our YouTube. Brew Talk. Brew Tube. I wish it was called Brew Tube.
I want Brew Tube.
Brew Tube. Brew Talk podcast on YouTube. There's links on our Instagram.
Tube.
Guys, enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Brew Talk.
We need to get help.
We can't keep saying that every time.
It's honestly a tick at this point. I'm not going to be able to stop.
Do you want to hear? So we've had some listeners say that they want to be taught things, and I found
They want us to teach us that.
they want to learn new things. They want interesting things, right? People
Okay.
like hearing about interesting things.
Okay.
And I'm kind of a little bit of a nerd sometimes when it comes to my interesting things.
Shut up.
So I was watching this video, and it's about some weird little thing called the coastline paradox. Have you ever heard about that?
No.
So, you know how people will like measure a coastline and be like, oh, well, this state has a bigger coastline than this one, with like more beach space or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, the coastline paradox is that you cannot measure the actual length of a coastline. It's impossible to get an accurate measurement of a coastline.
Because the rising and the falling of the tides?
No, because they're all infinite. They're all it all depends on how much you zoom in. No, it depends on how much you zoom in. So it's like if you start way zoomed out and then you use like, oh, we're measuring in little chunks of like 10 miles.
What if someone...
Then you're less accurate on the coastline. And then you zoom in a little bit and you go 1 mile. Then you're a little more accurate. And then you zoom in even more. But on a coastline, there's an infinite amount of little indents and outdents and all this stuff. So the more and more you zoom in, it just keeps lengthening the coastline.
So it's just basically a rough estimate.
You're just getting a rough estimate. But the crazy thing is that a coastline's length is infinite.
Because it just never stops.
Because it never stops growing the more you zoom in. It'll always keep adding.
I thought you meant like because like the continents are like.
No, like a whole circle. Then you just end up repeating yourself.
Yeah, they never stop because you can go all the way around and go back.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like one state or one place. The more you zoom into it, the more accurate you can get, and it just keeps adding distance to your coastline, and you will never come to a number of how long your coastline is because it keeps getting bigger the more you zoom in.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are you learning this?
I don't know. I just learned it. I thought it was really interesting.
That's so weird.
And so it's like you can't really compare. They're like, well, this state says it's got a like Maryland has like all these like things, and they're like, oh, it's a longer coastline than this coastline.
Maryland is a curly girl.
Yeah, she's all over the place. And so that's a really good example as far as like the more you zoom into something, the more you can like, oh, there's like this next little indent.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one and this one. It just like adds
The
more.
The curlies.
It adds more and more distance to your coastline.
That's
All
weird.
coastlines are infinitely long.
Maybe finitely long.
Finite?
Finitely. Finite.
No, but a finite is an actual number that you can reach.
There. One day we will be able to measure those little curly cues.
No, but then you just keep. Then after you go to that curly Q, you go in again. And then there's another little one or more.
Stupid.
Yeah, it just keeps going. That's why it's called the coastline paradox. Because you
Interesting.
can't figure it out. Anyway, that's my little teaching tidbit for today.
Teaching tidbit.
Wow, that was a lot. TTFT? Teaching tidbit for today.
TTFD.
TTFT.
TTFT.
Yeah.
For the day. TTFD. I
For
said
today.
today.
I said today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. We have no content prepared today,
So
people.
guys, we got nothing.
Nothing. Because we just were like, let's do it.
We got to do it. We got to do it.
And we both just showed up.
It's National Tell a Fairy Tale Day.
Tell a fairy tale?
Yeah, what's your favorite fairy tale?
Oh my God. Okay. There has been. This is like my Berenstain Bears. This is my Mandela effect. Because this story just doesn't seem to exist. So if you know what this story is, and this sounds so weird, I've been looking for to find this story for so long. I was told it was a Grimm's brother tale. Brothers Grimm, whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's the story about this little boy who...
So you're saying that you can't find the story.
I was told this story.
You were told the story, but you can't find the story.
And I can't find it. It is my Mandela. It is my Berenstain. Whatever they are.
Yeah, you said all those words, but I didn't know what those words meant.
You don't know the Mandela effect?
So,
Girl. All right.
Hey.
We'll teach something else.
yeah, we're teaching more things. I feel like I've heard of the Mandela effect before.
You definitely have.
Yeah.
So I just want to look it up.
Get the
Okay.
actual definition of it.
So it says the Mandela effect, sometimes referred to as the Mandela phenomenon, is an instance of false collective memory. So with the Berenstain and the
A
Berenstain,
false collective memory?
so a lot of people, I can't remember which is which. A lot of people remember the Berenstain Bears being the Berenstain Bears, and there's a gigantic group of people who are like they were the Berenstain Bears, and then if they look back further and further and further, it's like there's only evidence
They
of
were never-
Berenstain.
yeah.
It's something like that where it's like it always like the Mandela, like Nelson Mandela, everybody thought he died. And then like 2012, he
dead.
was like released from prison and everybody was like, what the hell? Everybody thought he was dead. And so a lot of people remember there being like tons of news outlets and like reports of him being dead and passed away. And
but
then
there's actually nothing.
but there was actually nothing. And
That's
so
crazy.
or there may be, and I just am missing that part of the phenomenon. But it's like
the collective memories. The strangest
everybody
part of that
remembers
one, for
something
sure.
being for sure this one thing, and then it like almost never
Actually
was
wasn't
actually
at all.
that at all.
Anyway, so what your memory of this story?
So
but is it
this-
collective or is it just you?
Just me. That's why I said it's my
It's your.
it's my Berenstain.
It's your personal collective memory.
Yeah, there's many people up in this head. I need to get checked. Oh, did you just hit it with your toe?
I just ran into it.
Ew, gross. Good thing that's labeled your mic.
Yeah, now we labeled it.
We labeled them. You can't see it, but it says Sid.
It says Luke right there.
Should we just sit there?
It's right
Right there.
Let's get into this
The
story. What is the story?
Okay. It's very because it's like the Brothers Grimm. It's gonna be like sad and like dark.
Okay.
So I don't remember a lot of the story. What I do remember is that this boy was decapitated.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this boy, his dad married this like really awful lady, and she hated him, and she was really mean to him, and I don't know what happens to the dad, but he's just not around for this moment. And the stepmom, she like puts an apple in this like little like trunk case thing, and she's like, here, reach in and get this apple. And he's like, oh, a tidbit of kindness. Bless you.
Thanks.
He's like, a tidbit of kindness. I would love to have an
I'll
apple.
go reach into this trunk.
He reaches in and snaps it shut.
Oh, decapitates him with the trunk?
Yep. And then I'm pretty sure she keeps his head. And then she gets her comeuppance. But I can't find that story. I was told it at an age where I probably shouldn't have been told it. I remember being like very young. The teacher was like, and then she snapped it shut. And I was all, but me, like my morbid little like 8-year-old self was like, sick.
That's
so
cool.
sick. I bet his arm came off too. Reaching in for that apple. Not that he was like
yeah, imagine like you're like reaching for the apple, you're just head first.
reaching in head first with your mouth. No. Bet you she got his arm too.
Yeah, you had to have.
You had to have.
And some fingers too, because you put your hand on the.
No, because he was like doing this. He is so little. Like, this collective area is gone.
Yeah.
And that was some sharp trunk.
It must have been.
She got it.
Or
so
just like some real speed.
maybe.
Like
The heat.
a dull trunk, and then you just.
Boom!
100 miles an hour.
Super bitch.
Poor little kid.
Sorry.
Poor kid. Yeah, I've never heard that story in my life before.
No, I mean, do you even like care about like Brothers Grimm tales? Grimm Brothers. I don't know
really
what it is.
read that much, unfortunately. Which is
It's Grimm Brothers.
so. But I actually, speaking of National Fairy Tale Day, and I don't think it's necessarily a fairy tale, but it felt like one. I read this book recently because I don't read.
Was it Harry Potter?
No, it was not.
Damn.
It was called the BFG. Have you heard of the BFG?
It's a big friendly giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You've
haven't read
this
it in
book?
so long, but it is a great. Oh, you.
What? Why was
those
that
are
so
all
funny?
those are all kid books, and I love it.
The BFG is a kid book, isn't it? Like
It
a kid,
is,
kid
but he's
book?
a big friendly giant. Doesn't he like reach in and like this girl's? He like picks up this girl.
Yeah. Well, he kidnaps her actually.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
She's
right.
she's a little girl too.
Yeah. So she was an orphan, and she was like, "Oh, the witching hour is when the mysterious things happen." And she wasn't supposed to be out of bed, but she got out of bed, and then she saw the giant, and the giant's like, "I can't have people seeing me because then they're gonna come kill us if the
Yeah.
humans know." So he stole the little girl.
But he
and-
like takes care of her.
Well, yeah, he ends up like making sure she's safe and doesn't get eaten by the bad giants who are much bigger than him. And then the BFG turns on all of his other giant friends and gets them all thrown into a pit.
That went dark.
Well-
Was that Roald Dahl? Is that what is that the?
Yeah, he ends up, look, this is him at the end, and he's got this Krumuppets or whatever the heck. It's like some really gross food that he eats instead of eating humans because all the other giants would eat humans.
Big friendly giant.
And then he ended up putting them in a pit, and he would feed them the gross food that he would eat.
Hey, he's still feeding them.
Look, see, they're putting the giants into the hole.
Mm,
Anyway, it was those are some big
holy
dudes.
God, that's dark. I don't remember that.
It was so weird to so I guess this is like the closest to like a fairy tale book that I have right now that I read.
Mhm.
But the way he speaks
Mhm.
was so frustrating to me because
He doesn't speak right. I do remember that.
he doesn't speak right at all, and it was so. I mean, like I'd have to read through, and I'm not a very good reader. He would call him human, and then she wrote the book like how he would talk phonetically, basically.
Mm.
So not the human being, the giant said. The human being has 2 legs, and a vegetable has no legs at all.
Human being. I remember
The
that.
human being, the giant went on, is coming in dillions of different flavors. For instance, human beings from Wales is tasting very whooshily of fish.
Wait, let me see.
Where
You're not
is
making any
something
sense.
exactly that doesn't make any sense.
But you have to like when you're reading it. That's when it makes sense.
Hold on. Okay.
Let me read it.
Read the freaking.
You is trying to change the subject, the giant said sternly. We is having an interesting babblement about the taste of the human being. The human being is not a vegetable. Oh, but the bean is a vegetable, Sophie said. Not the human being, the giant said. The human being has 2 legs and a vegetable has no legs at all. Sophie didn't argue anymore. The last thing she wanted to do was make the giant cross. The human being, the giant went on, is coming in dillions of different flavors. For instance, human beings from Wales is tasting very whooshy of fish. There is something very fishy about Wales. You mean whales, said Sophie said. Wales is something quite different. Wales is Wales, the giant said. Don't gobble funk around with words. I will now give you another example. Human beings from Jersey has a most disgustable woolly tickle on the tongue. The giant said, human beings from Jersey is tasting of cardigans.
And so it was also really weird too, how like it was so repetitive where they would do that and they would give examples of like 10 different places.
Well,
and
it's
then
a kid's book.
she would also correct him each time, and he would every single time he would get sad and he's like, please don't make fun of how I talk.
Oh.
And then like the next sentence she'd be like, you mean this? And he'd be like, please don't make fun of how I talk.
Well, she's helping him.
Anyway, so I read this
Sound
book.
like an idiot BFG.
I read this, and I guess it's a kid's book, so
Yeah, so it's going to be repetitive like that.
it's about
Why'd you highlight that?
I'm wondering. I know it is Bones. Oh, I think it was because it reminded me of me. I know it is Bones, said the BFG, but please understand that I cannot be helping it if I sometimes say things a little squiggly. I is trying my very best all the time. The big friendly giant looked so forlorn that Sophie got quite upset.
Oh. He's
And
doing
that
his
kind of reminds
best.
me of me. It's like, I know the word. Don't make fun of me. I know the word.
Derek
Please give me a little space on that.
Derek will use the wrong word all the time for certain things, but I just have like learned to speak Derek.
Yeah.
And so I just like, I know what he says, and I only correct him, and I always tell him, I was like, I know you know what you're saying. I know that. And I understand what you're trying to say, but I just want you to be able to have the right word for the moment when you're with somebody who isn't willing to like take a second to try and understand you.
Yeah.
So I do that all the
It's
time.
very thoughtful of you.
I'm like, this is actually the word that you're thinking of, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should change your career path.
To
be totally honest, you really should. And honestly, I've thought of something kind of similar as a career for myself as well. Not
Yeah?
the same thing as you, but a little
Interesting.
different. But anyway, Sydney freaking pulls up today.
Should
I'm
I?
going to talk to the little camera for a second.
Okay.
Sydney freaking pulls up today, and she like pulls out her computer, which she has like her little notes and stuff on, and she's like, dude, check out this Google Excel sheet that I did.
I love Google Sheets.
And she's like planning her whole trip, vacation, but you're doing it. I mean, so I wonder what your like a daily itinerary will look like. Will it look more free than this, or like just the expenses side is all a little more prepared? 'Cause she got estimates of different busy season prices and slow season prices, like 4 or 5 different quotes basically,
Mhm.
and then used that to like find an average price that she would probably be spending if she went at a certain time,
Okay.
which is really cool.
Yeah. So everybody's always like, I can't afford to go on a trip, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. The thing is like everyone can afford to do it if it's between like putting $15 a month away or $15 a week. $15 a month you would be going out of town in a couple years. But
Yeah, that's gonna take a little bit.
so what I usually do, and oh my God, please
Just
hit
keep
me up
talking.
if you want me to plan your trip or like, ooh,
Oh my
don't
gosh,
slam
I'm just
the
trying to
thing down.
freaking
He's adjusting
casually get
himself.
up and.
Where are you going? Oh my God. So what I do is I try to plan it in a way that like I got really distracted. I got really distracted by you getting up. I'm sorry. It really threw
I'm
me
sorry,
off.
I was trying to just.
It's okay. So the thingy that I do. So I try to I'll get the average of like a bunch of different types of flights round trip on seasons and off seasons, because you know that that's the difference between spending $1,500 and $800. So I'll do the averages, and I'll probably get, so here for a round trip from Albuquerque to London, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got the average of 6 different flights. And I'll do that with travel, so like that's the tube in London, and then daily food costs and the Airbnb. And so like the only thing you really need to account for is, you know, saving up for like souvenirs or like
Yeah.
activities and stuff. But everything else, like if you were to just walk around London and do nothing, you've already paid for your Airbnb, you have enough money for food.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to go hungry one day, you could spend food money on doing something else,
Yeah.
you know? And so
Because those parts, the Airbnb and the flights, are the most expensive
they
part
are.
of your trip.
They are. They're super expensive.
Also, the other thing that I like to say when I go on trips, especially overseas, is once you get there, just stay as long as you can, because it's
Oh yeah.
cheaper to stay there
Yep.
since the flight's the most expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to like
That's why you go for
extend
10
your
days.
trip
Yeah. So this trip
or
that
a month, I would always try to go for a
I'm-
month.
God, I can't. I don't have enough PTO saved up.
That's now my problem. I used to
Yeah.
go in between jobs, and so I would like
Mm.
save up, and then like I would move my job, and I'd make sure that I had time between the two.
That'd be lovely. I would
Yeah.
love to do that. And I know my boss would at the studio. He would
Probably pretty chill with it.
he'd be super chill with it. If I could find out how to do like some remote work for him or do this, plan trips,
Yeah.
that would be super sick.
So you know
So
who Casey Neistat is?
yeah.
So he has a brother
Mm-hmm.
named Van Neistat, and Van Neistat also has a YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
who just released a cool video. You guys should go watch it. You should watch it too.
I'll watch it.
Which is it's like his 10 tips for like stress-free travel, basically, or something like
Mhm.
that. And he just kind of laid out. He's like, he's like, go for a month. Do some splurges, do some like stuff like this, and he'll
Yeah.
like the whole thing. And he like actually gave like prices for how much he spends on his vacations and all this, and like how long it takes him to save for stuff. It was a really
Yeah.
cool video. As far as I'm like, that's like how I want to travel as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you should watch it.
Yeah.
And
I'll
you
watch
should
it.
also be a trip planner for people.
Dude, I want to be so bad because I sit down and I made this whole budget. So for this particular trip, my friend and I, we want to go to London, and then we want to go to Edinburgh, and then we want to go to Dublin. And so I've planned all the flights from place to place, and then round trip, the cost of coming back and forth from America, from Albuquerque, not like going to Denver. You know, like
Yeah.
people like to do that where they'll drive to Denver and then
Fly out.
fly out, which is like fine, but I'd rather just like come back and forth. You know,
Yeah.
just keep it simple, stupid.
Probably depends on like how much the flight, because Albuquerque is so expensive to fly out of.
I
It's
actually looked it up.
stupid.
I looked from Denver in kayak.
About the same.
It was more expensive to fly from Denver.
What the heck?
I know, it was weird.
That's so strange.
It's weird. I don't know.
That's not right.
It might not be right, but I don't care. I got the more expensive flights and I got the least expensive flights. But anyways,
Mhm.
I did flights, transportation, food, and stay, and I did a bunch of averaged totals. So it all came out to $2,580
A person
a person.
for how many days? 10 days?
9 days.
9 days?
9 days. Because it would be 3 days in London, and then we'd go to Scotland. And I thought about just riding the train to Scotland, but it's like a 9-hour train ride. So I was like, we'll just scoot
So
on.
what you can do with that, and what I did when I used to when I was a senior in high school and I
Also,
traveled over there,
the flights and the train rides are sometimes the same price.
same price. But so here's what I would do with the trains, is because I was going kind of all over Europe, so I'd get a Eurail pass,
Yeah.
and then I would
I think it's-
pre-book sleeper trains, and then I
Oh.
would sleep on the train.
Sleep
So I
overnight.
would sleep overnight, and then you save time basically, because you go to
Oh.
bed, and then like you're just sleeping, and so
I'm gonna
instead
write
of
that down in
using
here.
daytime, but then you have to like pre-book it, and then sometimes they're kind of expensive, and then you're sleeping like with, like the little train car was like 6 little twin beds, and
Mhm.
so it was like me and my buddy, and then like
Ooh,
some Asian people, and then like some German dude.
I don't know. It's
And
2
they were all,
girls.
like-
We're 2 girls. I don't know how we're gonna feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So there's differences
Depends.
as well.
Yeah. I'll talk to her about it. But
That's what I did. And it was great.
Mhm.
It was great until it doesn't work and your train gets delayed and you wake up and you're like still in Germany when you should be in Paris.
Great.
It's so
God, that
great.
what a nightmare.
I know.
So I do that, and then I add up. The way that I do it is I'll do like, you want to get like your flights like several months in advance. And
Yeah.
You want to do your Airbnb
Oh, yeah.
as well. But by like, so we want to book this trip by May. So I have, just like for buying the flights was $1,335. And so just by May, we want to have that amount of money. So I calculated, okay, so I get paid weekly, and there's about 14-ish weeks until then. How many?
Which do we need to put aside each week?
Yeah, each week, how much money do I need to put aside? And I already
That's so smart.
and so my friend, she gets paid every other week. So I sent her, I was like, you need to put like, she needs to basically just put like $200 away every other week. And so for me, it was like, she had to do 190. I had to do like 90 or something. I already had like, I do this thing where I just like save all my coins,
Yeah.
and I have like those little coin things and I pack them up
Oh,
like a, what
cool. Yeah, yeah. Like you like roll your own coins.
Yeah, so I
basically?
roll my own coins like every couple of months, and I'll just like see how much I have. And it's been like 2 years, and so of course like I throw change and I lose it and
Yeah.
I use it. In my little coin thing that I had over $200.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Casey and I have a coin thing like that, but for tattoos that we don't usually ever spend on tattoos. But we've got a few $100 in there. We'll just like throw our change and everything. Such a good idea.
Yeah.
And it is like a surprise when you find it again too.
Yes.
You're like, oh, where did all this come from?
Wow. So something that one of my friends does, and I think that is so smart of her. Her and her husband obviously just like share like an account, but she's like, she's a stay-at-home mom, but she wants to surprise her husband every once in a while with like.
What a great person. That's so fantastic.
Yeah. So what she'll do is when she goes to the store, she'll and ask for cash back. She'll just take a $20 and she'll put it aside and she'll save it. And so that $20 that she takes from that transaction, she'll just like put it aside and then she saves them all from like every time she goes to the grocery store and stuff, and she'll have like a couple hundred saved up, and then she'll surprise him with like it's not anything that just like comes right out of pocket. Like it's kind of like already.
Yeah, it feels free.
It feels free. It's not.
I love free money.
Yeah, it feels free.
It's so weird.
But she'll do that and she'll put it aside, and so she'll spend that money on him. Be like, surprise! I got us like a night in Santa Fe or something like that.
Cute.
Yeah, or she'll like go and get him a gift, and it's like money wasn't directly like taken out of their account like at that moment.
They were already like
it was
already
paid for.
like budgeted out of like the grocery budget basically.
Mm-hmm. Which was I thought was cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So
sneaky.
It is sneaky. But I love planning trips. I don't have it printed out, but I have like one for like a month Tran to Paris, not to Paris, like France. And so what I'll do is I'll usually like, let's go in like a cohesive circle. So in France, it's like you start at the top. You have to start in Paris, of course. And then you scoot up and you do like a little loopy around and go back to Paris, and then you fly back. But you just like hit all these like really cool spots. Mm-hmm. But I want to go to the UK because I want to go see the Harry Potter castle.
You cannot stop, guys.
Dude,
she loves it. You love it so much. It's ridiculous.
Loved Harry Potter.
It's crazy. I think it's. I mean, it's weird how people all have like their thing that they're super passionate about. It's just
I'm
weird
passionate about a lot.
I know, but you're very passionate about Harry Potter. It just comes up in your conversation. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, okay. So let me I've thought about this for a long, long time. So, this goes into something else that I'll talk about in a second. It just was like, it was such an escape for me as a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, it just is like, I had such trauma going on in my life. I was like staying with a mom who couldn't and wouldn't take care of me, and then switching over to another family there. My dad was just working all the time, like he was just trying to provide for his family, with a mom who wasn't really interested in me, and so like I had to be interested in something. And so I loved Harry Potter. It's magical, it was fun, it was exciting. It's completely different from my own life, of course.
Did you feel like you related to the kids at all?
I related to Harry a bit because
I don't really even know the whole story. I know they get sent off
or
like taken
have you
from
seen
their
any
houses.
Harry Potters?
No.
You're killing me, Harry.
No, not at all.
So Harry's parents are murdered.
And so the magic people, do they find orphaned kids and bring them in?
No. Do you want me to tell you?
No, we shouldn't go into the
It's just as a quick, just so I can tell you how I relate to Harry a little bit. So Harry's parents are killed by Voldemort. His parents were very prominent in the time that they were alive, fighting against Voldemort, because he was the most powerful dark.
Spoiler alert!
Oh my God!
For anybody who hasn't seen Harry Potter,
that is literally the first thing that you learn.
Right now.
I don't care. That's been out for 20 years. And so Voldemort, he heard a prophecy about a boy born at the end of July that would be his down. Let me talk.
Oh, jeez.
You want to hear about my passions, and I'm trying to tell you.
You're telling me very passionately.
So, anyways, you mother effer. Voldemort heard a prophecy about how a child born at the end of July was going to be his downfall. So he goes and he murders the Potters and tries to kill Harry, and it doesn't work because Lily saves him, and that magic is very old and very powerful. Anyways, so he gets taken from his home by, magical people, and he gets brought to his only living relative, which is his mother's sister, and she is what they call a Muggle, and she's no magic, and they are all the most plain, dull people in the entire world, and they hate him. They hate Harry the second he comes to their home. They treat him differently. They have made it very apparent that they made it. It's okay. They made it very apparent that they don't want anything to do with him. They make him sleep under the stairs, like in a little cupboard.
I remember seeing a little thing of that.
Yeah, and so like they just like mistreat him the entire time. And in the books, they're like quite abusive. They choke him, they hit him.
Nice.
They're very awful. Like I was never choked. I was hit, but I related to Harry and being like he was just like. I hate this place. And so his one chance of getting out, he was like, see ya.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'm out,
I'm
baby.
done skis. Yeah.
We'll see you later.
Yeah, so I related to Harry a little bit. And so I was like, man, he got to go somewhere. I wish I could. And so I was really sad when I didn't get my letter to Hogwarts when I was 11.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It's pretty tough.
I'm still pissed. I'm okay. But no.
Anyway.
It's just nice.
This is going to be a really fun trip. Sounds like it.
Oh, my God.
And you should start trying to figure out how to like if you make this sheet and you make it like really easily customizable for different places or whatever.
Oh, it's so easy.
Then you can
actually it's not.
get other
Ask
people's
me to do
ideas.
it. Pay me to do it.
It's actually really complicated.
It is very complicated. Well, it's only complicated in the sense of like you need to do like research on the places you want to stay because you don't want to be like, dude, this is a great deal, and you're like in the slums.
Yeah.
Like going to get murdered.
Yeah.
You know, because
like,
there's
wow,
slums
the
everywhere.
Airbnb's only $20 a night. You're
It's
like,
like,
that's
oh,
so sick.
you wondered why it was gonna be $20 a
Love
night.
European travel.
The water is brown, the showers are leaking, and you hear gunshots every night.
Yeah.
It's doing it. Get it. Oh my God. I didn't know you pressed record.
You have to.
Well, I just want to formally call out all of the GoPro people. Our GoPro shouldn't pass away at 30 minutes and be as hot as the sun itself.
Apparently, it is a problem. And now we're just going to have to learn how to deal with it.
We just sat here and just stared at each other for the last 15 minutes waiting for this thing to cool down.
Do you guys want to see what that looked like?
Yeah.
This is the past 15 minutes. Have you ever watched Cyber Chase as a kid?
No. Did you watch That's So Raven?
Sometimes.
Drake and Josh.
That's what that looked like.
There you go.
There you go.
Except we weren't actually talking to each other. You want to know my secret to keeping a straight face?
What?
I go, dead babies, dead babies, dead babies.
You do that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My
dead
secret
puppies.
to keeping a straight face is I just think Sydney, 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 and then I just get really mad. And then...
I think that is what a lot of my family does.
Yeah.
Yep. Just like whatever family member they're pissed off at.
So that little
Use
thing
that
we
name.
just did right there reminded me of an exercise I used to do with my friends every once in a while.
An exercise?
An exercise.
Let's hear it.
It's a mental exercise, and it was like a part of a video about, and so it's kind of a weird thing to do with your friends when you preface it like this.
Just a little.
Anyway, it was a part of a video about like, I think it was like a game called like How to Fall in Love in 10 Questions or something like that. And so they would like ask two strangers to sit down, and then like they would go through these questions and be open. And then the last thing they did was they would stare at each other in complete silence for 5 minutes.
5 minutes? That is so long.
It's a long time. And I've done it with a few of my friends.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. So I did it with Casey, I did it with Andrew, I did it with Abba, and then I tried doing it with Casey's little cousin Emily, who we're really good friends with, and me and her just could not even stare at each other. We just kept laughing. It was like
I think
we
that
could
would
not get through it.
I'm sorry, I don't
couldn't
think
get through it.
I think that would happen with us.
So we should try sometime. I think we could do it. Just based on that, that's what when I was completely silent. It was just
5
like
minutes?
it's a long
I
time.
don't want to stare at you for 5 minutes.
I know. It's really weird what you start focusing on, and then you like think about the other person, and just like it's really interesting.
Weird.
I love it. So you should do it with Derek. It takes a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
He can't touch you though.
No.
There's no
perfect.
It's just
perfect.
looking.
That's exactly what I want.
You just stare at each other. Set an alarm on your phone. Flip the phone over. Sometimes it feels like it goes really quick. Sometimes you feel like it's like an hour. It's weird.
It's gonna feel like an hour because he's also gonna do this the whole time. Just smile at me the whole
But
time.
you can't smile for 5 minutes. That's
No, he can. He'll
It
yes,
hurts
he can.
it hurts your muscles.
It don't matter. He will smile at me the whole time.
But yeah, no, because I would smile or like think of something and then you smile and then you like get back to kind of being serious and studying. It's a really interesting It's really interesting. You really learn what the other person looks like too.
I'll probably start. Stop smiling at me. At him. Stop.
So you should try it.
I'll talk to him about it. What is it called?
I think that I should probably just find the video.
God. Dude, that lady, I love her outfit. There's an older lady over there, and she's just like several shades of blue. She's rocking it. Rocking it. I love it.
Oh, I guess it's 36 questions that lead to love.
What if it just turns out that Derek and I don't love each other?
You like do it and you're like, oh my gosh.
Should we break up?
It's a thing by Jubilee. Jubilee does it, and they just get two strangers to like sit down and talk to each other. There was one of the videos that I like really liked. They get so many. How does Jubilee get so many? Oh, it was this kid. I think it was this kid. Those two, they were cute.
Did they fall in love?
I don't know. I think they probably said they would go on a date afterwards.
Oh my God, that's great.
I could look at you for 4 minutes pretty easily. Boy, you won. I guess that's what he said at the end.
Aww.
That's cute.
I like. Okay.
Oh, he's attractive.
Let me see. Let me see. I want to see his face. I want to see him.
Come on.
Get to his face. She's cute too.
They just
She's
look
pretty.
like a good couple.
Wait, just stop skipping. I'm
trying to freaking get to
I
the
know.
point.
Oh. Yeah, keep going.
Exactly.
Wait,
so then
let me see
he
him.
comes in,
Let me see how beautiful he is. Oh my God, she is beautiful.
and she's excited that he's attractive too.
He is
handsome.
Oh my.
I'm telling you.
Hello. I don't even care that he's a ginger.
And then, hold on. Where's the thing where they look at each other? Oh gosh,
oh,
I didn't even know.
I
you
think
could
that's
do
it. Look, she's just staring. Oh my God, he's gorgeous.
This is intense. Doing that with especially with a stranger you just met.
He's like
And
Ginger Captain
you
America.
just start like noticing everything that they do and their jawline and then like their face and their eyes and you notice everything. But it's like so good.
She's so cute.
You start seeing people
I love
for
that.
and then they like you like smile and like laugh for a second like they both did, but then you like refocus. It's an
I
intense
hope that
thing
they
to
got
do.
married. I hope they're married. They look like a beautiful couple.
Did they really watch? Did they really?
I bet you they did.
Wow, they made the whole video. Hold on, let's see if he.
Do you hear this guy behind us?
That was
He
a
goes,
lot easier than I
That was
thought.
not bad.
It wasn't bad at all.
It went so good. He's like beautiful, so
He is.
there's that. And he's so nice. So I was like that was really fun.
They're probably gonna ask us, like, would you go out again? But
Yeah.
should we ruin it for him? And I kind of expected it to be like, do you guys want to go on a second date? Sure, yeah, let's do it. And then like, follow me on Instagram. Cool, here's my handle. And then like, never talk again. Like her pictures occasionally, but like, I don't get a feeling like that is what's gonna happen. So we'll see. I might be totally
I
wrong.
just got the
I
chills.
totally misread this, but we'll see. You want to go out again?
Now don't mail weed.
Too, yeah.
I have the day off Saturday.
I think I have Saturday off. You want to do something?
Yeah.
We should do the,
They're
the
going on
hike
a
to the
date.
Hollywood sign.
Oh yeah, I'm so.
Because I feel like that's like a very like, hey, welcome to LA thing.
Oh my God, I hope they got married and had several children.
I do have.
Dude, I got the chills too.
I love love.
I don't care
Anyway,
for
so
it.
that's that exercise though, and there was a lot of other questions involved in that. We'll link this video so that you all can watch.
Yeah. He's beautiful.
One of my favorite little things to do with friends that I start feeling closer with, that I was like, let's just freaking stare at each other. So maybe we'll do it. We'll time lapse it, and we'll
5 minutes.
5 minutes or 4. They said 4 minutes.
Thank God.
That could be a really interesting thing to do, actually.
Oh my God.
Maybe on the next podcast we'll.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Let's do, when this podcast comes out, let's be like, hey, do you guys want to see us do this? And that can be just like a YouTube thing.
Yeah, just a YouTube exclusive on our
Mhm.
Brew Talk podcast YouTube
Yeah.
channel.
And we do like these weird little challenges. We can mukbang.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
We don't need an obscene amount of food, that's for sure. We can get Casey and Derek in on it too.
And do a little.
A mukbang.
Wow.
When we get enough viewers that will actually send us questions, like a Q&A kind of thing. Are you looking at futon stuff?
I'm looking at futon
Okay.
stuff. We have some.
God bless that man.
What did he say? Was it was it
Verification.
it was a comment actually.
Yeah, it was a comment.
We love getting comments on our Instagram.
I do love it. It makes me feel so happy. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. People like really want to tell us what they want, what they want to hear, what they want to see, all
And then
that
just
stuff.
like even laughing at the stuff that you think or just commenting on if something helps it. I mean, I feel like Sydney's got a lot of good stuff to say about like her past, and she loves like giving a lot to say. I mean, it'd be cool
do.
if like people would.
Because
It'd be so cool if people appreciated you for that.
something that I like though is like between you and I is we have very different childhoods, very different.
So different.
And it's not a bad thing. And I was telling my past to somebody who doesn't have that type of past.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'm so sorry that you had to experience all that. And I was like, dude, I am not in the slightest bit sorry that I was ever like abused as a child or like neglected, anything, mistreated, traumatized. Because when I meet somebody who is me 10 years ago and who's in like the thick of it and doesn't know how to get out of it, feels like they're not going to get out, that's just depressing and, you know, nothing is ever going to get better. I can be like, no, like I'm on the other side of that now. And like, you will be okay. Like,
Yeah.
I swear, like this is just another couple weeks or months or unfortunately maybe years where you're just like not feeling very good.
Yeah.
There's another side. There's like another side to this door. Like you will be okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm like that. I am so happy to be somebody who's like good.
There for people in that way.
Yes.
That's crazy. Casey and I were talking with an adult friend of ours last night, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of talking about marriage and how people should. He's like, he's like, I was pretty sure I was at your wedding, and like at weddings, you're supposed to like be doing this in front of people so that you have community to like surround you and support you and be there
Mhm.
for people. And then he's like, and then you don't.
Yeah.
And then they get divorced, and you're like, well, I guess it's too late to like surround them and love them and care for them. Like, whoopsies, like, I
Ugh.
guess. Anyway,
Yeah.
so but he was kind of just talking about like, he's like, yeah, it's like when marriage is, the hard parts of marriage are really brutal, but then like getting through them, the better parts are always better.
So much
But
sweeter.
it's so hard to like see when you're in a hard part to be like, but how much better can it actually get? Like, I know the good has been good, but then if you're going through it. But anyway, he's like, we've had our hard times, and he's like, our rough patches, he's like, it was like 6 years.
yeah.
And I'm like, 6 years? I'm like, I've been married for 3, and we get in arguments. And I'm like, 6 years of just like the worst. And he's like,
Mhm.
but then now it's like we're doing even better than we've ever been doing before,
Yeah.
and it's just the best thing ever. And I'm like, how do you put up like 6 years? It's so long. But that's the culture today too. It's
Yeah.
just like, if it's not going well,
Just
hey,
cut it off. Be
the
done
grass
with
is
it.
greener. Let's get over there.
Yeah. And it's like the grass is green where you water it, bud. That's where it is.
Yeah. So anyway, that was like, it was cool to have someone. It's always cool to have someone who can like relate to you
Mhm.
and help you see what's on the other side
Yeah.
of something.
Be like, I am so glad I didn't give up on this because now I have such an incredible relationship with so-and-so, or I have such a great relationship with myself or my parent, or
Mhm.
I'm closer to my siblings, all that stuff, you know, or the community you can build. Anyways,
Mhm.
let's hear about futon.
This one is interesting. The aching feeling you get when you want to say something nice to someone, but the conversation has moved on and you can't get back to the moment.
I scream it right in their face. You look so good today. I'll always go back to it. The aching feeling. If you got that ache in your soul and you feel like you have to say something, don't ignore it.
Just say it.
Just say it. Do it. Be like, hey, I know we're off topic. You look really good today. Or, I love the way you said
I
this.
appreciate that.
Mm.
This is my favorite sweater.
Blue is a nice color on you.
Thank you.
Blue's a nice color on Derek, too.
Yeah?
He looks so good in the dark navies.
Oh, dark navies? I like
Mhm.
lighter colors.
You have lighter skin than him, so that makes sense.
Oh,
And it goes with your eyes.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So
I get lots of compliments from old ladies. Really, it's true. It happens all the time.
that's
They get
great.
a little too touchy with my arm, and they're like, "Your eyes are so
like, "Don't touch."
beautiful." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
Ew. Thank you. Go away.
yikes,
We're gonna get your geriatric on me.
yikes."
Ew. Anyways, next.
Um.
That's my advice, futon. Just say it anyways.
Anyways,
Life is too short. Do it.
oh, he said milkshakes are better than ice cream. That's another poll.
You know what?
Another hot
Actually, you
take.
know what?
I feel like
it could
'cause
be.
You
I like both. I'm an ice cream
I love
addict.
milkshakes. I'm
I do too.
addicted to milkshakes.
You know what? I think it depends on the ice cream and the person who makes it.
The place over at Tin Can is really good. They
I-
make them very creamy.
I think they put a little too much milk, but I do love their ice cream. I love it. I love their matcha. Maybe it was just the person who made it that one time.
Maybe it's the
But
recipe.
if it's between the milkshakes and the ice cream, I do love a good milkshake. if it's between the two, but milkshakes.
I end up like, if I have ice cream, Casey makes fun of me for this. Like, I'll get like a bowl of ice cream, right?
Mhm.
And it's usually chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's vanilla, I do like vanilla, but then I'll put chocolate syrup in it.
Okay.
But
Good.
I'll just mix it
No.
until it's like a milkshake, basically. But I'm eating it with a spoon.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I let it get a little melty.
Basically, yeah. And then you just like stir it up, basically. and
I
then-
don't stir it. I am one of those weird people, and I go from side to side. Like when I eat my poke bowls, do you mix your or like Chipotle? Do you like mix it all up? Like shake the thing around?
I've never shaken the thing around, but I do, I guess, mix it with my fork a little bit.
I don't. Mixing it frustrates me. I can't do it. I leave all of the toppings all together
Yeah.
on top layered, and I work from one side to the other.
Interesting.
And that's what I do
A
with
lot
my
of
poke
hot
bowls.
takes here today.
I
Milkshakes or ice cream, mixing up your bowl or not. We got
Do
some
you-
good polls for this
we
week.
do. Beautiful. Actually, I'm gonna write those down. Okay, what's next?
I think that's it.
Oh, that's it. That's all Futon said.
The real reason nobody comments on this post
It was because
that?
I'm mean.
Oh, it's
That's
'cause
from
Sid was
Daniel.
mean.
Listen, Daniel, I wouldn't have to be mean if you guys would freaking comment.
Yeah. Hey, I think maybe a closing remark. If you listen to this podcast and it sounds like a fun thing, here's the thing about podcasting, for sure. Here's the thing for sure. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
It was super intimidating the first time to podcast. Super weird. You
Uh-huh.
feel like you have nothing good to talk about,
Yeah.
but it's so natural once you start, at least for me,
Yeah.
that if someone watching wants to be on a podcast and you feel like you have nothing to talk about, come on and let's just have a normal conversation about life.
Seriously. Let's just talk about
We're gonna
all of our
start.
trauma.
I've started creating a list of people that I want to have on the podcast, and we would love to have you guys on as well. So we are small enough at this point that you can hop on and have your own little
Little podcasty
little
moment.
session with us.
So,
And
wait.
it's so fun.
Our availability is like, do we want to give that out?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So, like the nights that we usually podcast.
Oh,
Or nights and days.
well, we can always figure it out.
We can
and,
tell
like,
them. But, like, there's only,
Yeah.
like, a certain days a week that we really podcast that lined up with both of our schedules.
Yeah.
Because we're both very busy. But, seriously, like, we want to put it on the schedule. We
It'd be
want to
really
do it.
fun.
And even if it's, like, a mini moment, like, you're like, I don't got a lot of time, but I'd love to podcast, or, like, you know,
We'll have
guest
that for 20
appearances.
minutes or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It would just be a lot
It'd
of
be
fun.
super fun. We love
Um,
bringing people into our world and experiencing this
Mhm.
kind of conversation. I feel like it's more intentional conversation.
Mhm.
I mean, we're in a coffee shop right now, as you guys can tell.
People stare. If you don't like staring, I hate staring. I'll stare straight at you.
But
Can
it's
you stare at
weird
me?
when you put headphones on and you have a microphone, everything kind of blurs out.
You don't really. I'm very like self-conscious about those things. Like I don't like when people look at me or stare at me too long. I get
Uh-huh.
irritated. I have like since kind of lost that whole part where like if people stare at me, I'm like meh.
Meh.
Like I was like that at the beginning, but I'd be like,
Except
please
if
stop
it's a
staring.
kid. If it's a kid.
If it's a kid, I will stare you straight back. That I showed up here today, and I was like, my nightmare is outside, and there was these kids
Oh, a bunch of
everywhere
kids.
screaming. They were walking on the walls. Their parents were doing nothing to control them.
You shouldn't, dude. Those kids should be free.
One of them should have fallen to teach the parent a lesson. Like nothing bad happening to the
That's-
kid, but
that-
just to scare the
but
parent.
that was me when I was a kid. I would do that.
But not in public.
Yes, in public.
No,
Yeah, I'd be climbing into trees, and other
no
parents
trees.
would be like,
Trees fine, totally.
"No, we'd be on
But-
rails. We'd be walking on railings and stuff like that."
But like, I guess it doesn't really matter because like nobody was sitting out there, but like it was just those families. But the kids
they
were
were
walking around
inside
on
at
the
first.
walls.
They were a little more
Yeah.
behaved inside. I
That's
thought it was
great.
fine. I thought it
guess
was great.
I guess it's just like kids are. I want kids. That's so funny, but like. Kids are so irritating to me. Like,
Yeah.
just act like kind of normal.
Come on.
You don't like don't stare at people. The kids who do this,
They got to learn it. They gotta
dude.
figure it
No,
out.
dude, knock it off. You look like a freak. This little girl, because our last podcast ended up being a time lapse.
Oh,
This little girl, she would like staring Luke straight in his soul, and he said hi to her, and then she looked at me, and I did this.
you snarled at one of them.
That was a couple weeks ago.
No, you snarled at the girl. The second pass you did, you snarled.
Oh, that was
at
a little
her.
boy. Little boy, he kept looking back at us.
He's just a freaking kid.
I don't care.
You can't be doing that. Hey
Yeah,
guys,
well, that's why you teach kids not to stare, it's because of people like me.
at brewtalk_cast on Instagram. Give us a follow, give us a comment. And then I'm learning that there's now way too many things to say at the end of the video. I'm like, go comment, go follow our Instagram. Then you got to go to our YouTube, go to subscribe, like.
We'll link it
share.
down below.
Oh my gosh, there's
Like
so
and
much.
share.
But we are really excited to be able to take you guys on the journey of like a video with us too. We hope it's a little more engaging. Now you can like see our faces and you can see Sydney's snarling looks and all that stuff.
I do some pretty good nasty looks. So
So-
if you're looking for pointers, you talk to me.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Go to our YouTube, give it a just click on the video and like skip through it to boost our
Dude,
analytics.
I keep zoning out, Maul.
We just finished our coffee. Time to
Coffee.
get out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Shut up.
Brew Talk.